Dr. Uran Butka, historian. The Massacre of Tivari comes today complete with archival documents from the Albanian, Yugoslav, British, American archives, as well as authentic testimonies of those who experienced the massacre from Kosovo and the Albanian territories in Macedonia and Montenegro. The question arises, why I researched and engaged for so long, for almost 25 years, about this tragic event, because it is a massacre of Balkan proportions, because there were nearly 4,000 innocent Albanians killed and many disappeared, because this massacre was hidden and continues to be hidden from politics, in order not to bring out the responsibilities and the guilty. This is one side, that of the historian, to reveal and bring out the historical truth. On the other hand, the publication Massacre of Tivari, also a tribute to the fallen, to the innocent disappeared, but also to their families, who were hurt and persecuted endlessly. In this book, family members will find the names of the fallen, their lists are published here. But let's go back to the story. The political and military platform of the project of the Yugoslav communist state was the infamous Project of Kubralovic of March 7, 1937 and November 3, 1944. There are two ways of ethnic cleansing of Albanians, to exterminate them, or to relocate them. Tivari Massacre fully fulfilled these anti-Albanian goals. Precisely at the beginning of November 1944, the commands of the NJ Army was given, by the highest party and military bodies of Serbia, the directive to kill at least 50% of the Albanian inhabitants. This genocide was manifested openly in the form of mass murders of Kosovo Albanians and other Albanian villages by the forces of the National Army of Yugoslavia, of the OZN and from the Chetnik Resist detachments, but also with the help of the military formations of the National Army of Albania. Tito, in the quality of the commander-in-chief of the NJ Army, requested Haja to transfer the Albanian N formations to Kosovo and Yugoslavia, to fight against invaders and reaction. This request was formulated at the end of May, it was repeated in July of August 1944, it was renewed on August 26, 1944 by the UNJ headquarters for Kosovo and the Dukagjan Plain, signed by the commander of to this headquarters, Fadil Haja and Commissar Boshko Kakic. The Albanian side showed itself ready. On September 12, 1944, the commander-in-chief of UNSH, Haja, ordered Korparmata III to immediately prepare and start 2 brigades for Kosovo. Sent to Kosovo Brig 3 and V under the command of Shefkat Pisai, the sending of the partisan brigades of Albania to Kosovo was held in conspiracism even for the British, although they were allies and helped the National Liberation War in Albania and Yugoslavia. Enver Haja ordered Dalindro, the commander of Corps I, don't tell the British the objective of the V and 3 brigades, which will go to Kosovo. Tito called the brigades and divisions of to the National Army of Albania to fight against the enemy and the reaction, but he mainly used them in the fight against the Albanian reaction. Haja knew well why the National Liberation Brigades of Albania were called in Kosovo, so as an obedient vassal and aware of what he was doing, he ordered the brigades of Division 1 to annihilate without mercy the Albanian nationalists and reactionaries inside and outside the borders without showing the slightest tolerance. In the month of November 1944, the V Division and the Division, which were placed under the orders of the V Army of the National Army, were engaged in this war. Yugoslavs, in the order of action of the V Army of Yugoslavia, the divisions of Albania were also included. All reactionary forces that you will meet, be surrounded and destroyed at all costs. Disarm suspicious people and those who do not want to mobilize willingly, burn the houses of the traitors who resist and make a fortress. Seize the goods of escaped criminals, to point out to the streets you pass that street that becomes a haven for bloodthirsty, will be punished. The V and 6 divisions of Albania were in Kosovo during the months of March and April of 1945, when the massacre took place, led by Ramazalina, Commissar, and Jin Marku and Raman Perlaku, commanders. They recruited thousands of Kosovar Albanians and handed them over to the Yugoslav army, like cannon fodder, who moved them from Kosovo and annihilated them in Srem, Tivar, etc. The radiograms of the headquarters of the V and 6 divisions sent to the General Command of the National Army of Albania during the months of March-April 1945 and onwards, as well as the name lists of Kosovo Albanian refugees and volunteers, which were submitted by the headquarters of the divisions, V and 6 to Yugoslav army. Here is Enver Haja's answer. The fugitives handed over to your division, send them to the 52nd Division of Serbia. Several battalions of the 46th Division were assigned to accompany them through Albania, from Kukisi to Puk, Gomsic, Vabajdehez, Drin, Bun, Shkodër, and a battalion of the 27th Brigade of Serbia, as well as a group of 50 soldiers from the 4 Army. In a document, Enver Haja justified to his Yugoslav preceptors that he could not accompany the columns with Kosovars, because he did not have the necessary means, but he allowed them to pass through Albania and ordered the corps in Shkodër to cooperate with the Yugoslav military forces. Radiogram sent to Corps 3 Shkodër. The ordeal of the massacre began on March 24, 1945, when the convoys of forcibly recruited Kosovars left Prizren for Kukës and passed through the territory of Albania during the months of March-April. Yugoslav military source data show that 13,323 Albanian recruits were mobilized and sent to the Adriatic front. The Albanian government first allowed the Yugoslav army columns to enter and pass through the territory of Albania and to annihilate the Kosovo Albanians considered reactionaries. In a document of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Albania we read, thousands innocent Kosovars were shot en masse, illegally and without trial by the bodies of the UDB. Kosizaks participated in these unprecedented massacres against the population of Kosovo. At the beginning of 1945, when in his capacity as Minister of the Interior of Albania, he authorized UDB officers to shoot illegally and without trial, on Albanian soil, more than 1,000 innocent Kosovars. Of course, this is the act the most anti-national and shameful of the Albanian communist government, when it allowed Albanians to be killed on Albanian soil by foreigners and was completely silent about this massacre, which constitutes a pure genocide for political motives and ethnic cleansing. The Albanian government and Hoxha, he charged this crime to Kosizaks, when he was convicted in 1949. But the Interior Minister of Albania in 1945 was not Kosizaks, even this criminal, but Haksileshi, who made an agreement with the Yugoslav Minister of the Interior, Rankovic, and collaborated with him for the annihilation of innocent Albanians. From the report of the headquarters of Column 4 of the Yugoslav Army, dated April 8, 1945, the echelon went well to Kukës. An incident occurred near Kukës, when one of the convoy group threw a bomb at our guard, in which case a mess was caused, and in this mess a group of 10 people managed to escape. Thus, running away, they encountered the patrol of the Albanian army, which stopped them and called them to surrender. To this call, they answered, but they continued to run away. The Albanian soldiers opened fire on them and killed 2 people on the spot, wounded 2 others, who later also died. As can be seen clearly from this document, the annihilation of the Kosovo Albanian recruits was carried out in collaboration with the military forces of Yugoslavia and Albania, in this case within the territory of the Republic of Albania. From the Yugoslav documents, recruit Azam Hajdini Zeni, who experienced the horrors of the massacre of Tivari, but by chance he escaped death and testified about this national tragedy. When we entered the territory of Albania, we were overjoyed. Azam Hajdini submits, thinking that from now on we will be under the escort of the soldiers of our state, Albania, and that we would not experience the atrocities, as we had constantly experienced in Kosovo from the Serbs, Montenegrins and Macedonians. Very quickly, therefore, we were convinced that neither there was no room for joy here, because the pre-prepared scenario continued to be carried out meticulously, and because on the way through the territory of Albania, the escorts added torture and murder to us. They no longer considered us as their comrades in arms, not even as prisoners of war. They didn't even consider us as herds of cattle. According to the data of the Yugoslav archives in Kukës, Puke, Fusha Erez, Gomsik fell into the deep canyon and died. 36 recruits and 14 were wounded. In Vani Dehez, in the Drin River and in the Buna River and in Shkodër, hundreds of Albanian recruits were killed and a large number of wounded were injured. At noon on March 31, 1945, in the small town of Tivar, a trap was set. According to a pre-prepared plan for the annihilation of all Albanian recruits, the massacre was assigned to carry out the Montenegrin X-Brigade, exactly in Tivar, an Albanian city, which was included in the Mountain Black. Kasafana started at the entrance of New Tivar. Then it reached its peak in the yard and in the premises of the Tobacco Monopoly building, on March 31, 1945. According to the calculations, it turns out that 1560 Albanians were killed in Tivar alone by the second column, also from other columns with Albania. Recruits mobilized mainly in the Albanian villages of Gostivar, Tetova, Kumanova, Kirkova and Skopje. During the march through Albania they had the same fate. If we try to conclude about the exact number of those killed in this tragedy of Balkan proportions, the number results in the sum of 3,447 Albanians killed, drowned, poisoned, in addition to the missing who were not or never found in the so-called tragedy of Tivari.